What's up guys, Tony Cuts here with another video, and today I'm going to show you how I do my mid skin fades. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate all the love I've been getting so far. I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers so I could do this giveaway. Once I hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to do a giveaway. So please press that subscribe button, share it to a friend, and let's get to it. So for this haircut, my client, he came in and he already had the top of his hair cut to the length he liked. So I went right into the fade. I started this cut by setting in my first guideline, and I set that in there with my BABYLISS trimmers. I set the guideline in, and I did these steps in the beginning relatively fast because, like I said, his hair is very thick, so I don't want to waste time trying to get this absolutely perfect. I just want to get the line straight and everything underneath that line down to skin and bald, which I will come back with my box shaver. But first, I set my second guideline in all the way around the head with my BABYLISS clipper all the way open, no guard, all the way open. I set my second guideline in all the way around the head. That's a lot of hair I was able to take off really fast just by doing them two initial guidelines first. So now I'm just fading this beard up a little bit. You see me take my BABYLISS trimmers now and take the last remaining hair there off underneath that first original guideline. Just going to take that hair off, and with my BABYLISS trimmer already in my hand, I decided to fade a little bit of the top beard line in. So you see me take it, and with this technique, I'm just grazing and flicking and just kind of scraping that top line away. You really want to emphasize the flick. The more you emphasize the flick, that scrape, the more it will fade. Any guard, any fade, it always is best to have a light hand and flick. It's all in the flick of the wrist. As you can see in the back, I'm emphasizing that flick heavy around the back of the head there because the head, like I said, he's got very thick hair, and as you go to the back of someone's head, the hair just gets denser. So that's where you're going to be left with harsh skin lines if you press down with your trimmers hard. So be mindful when you set that first guideline that you're not pressing too hard. Now I already faded out this side with my clippers closed and working up to fully open. But I'll show you exactly how I did that in a minute. Now I'm taking my box shaver and I'm really getting all that stubble down to skin so it's nice and smooth. You want this to look like a gradient, which, if you are familiar with Photoshop, a gradient is just one color that blends into another, which in this scenario we've got black hair fading into tan, more light skin. So those are two totally different colors, two opposite colors that we need to blend into each other with no lines. So right now I'm on the other side. I'm using my trimmers while I have them in my hand to again scrape the top beard line out. So now you can see his beard is almost faded in completely. While I have my trimmers in my hand, I'm using them to clean off the hair on his ears. If you have a client that has hair on their ears, they will always appreciate if you clean them off, even if they don't say anything. Now, I'm going to show you guys how I got that bottom initial guideline out. On my Andis Masters right now, I have the fade blade. It cuts a lot closer than the stock blade, and it cuts closer than the BABYLISS blade fully open. I have this blade fully open, and I'm just flicking the same guideline that I set with my BABYLISS clippers open. If you open the BABYLISS clippers and you open the Andis Masters with the fade blade, the fade blade cuts closer. So to erase this line, I'm taking my fade blade, I'm opening it all the way up, and I'm flicking that line a little bit under what I did previously with my BABYLISS clippers open. Like I said, I got my fade blade on there, and I'm just flicking up just a little bit under my previous line, almost trying to lift the line up. Every time I flick, I'm then closing the notch a little bit lower, a little bit closer, and flicking up just a little bit under what I just did. So you're starting from all the way open, flicking that line and working all the way down until you're hitting that line you created with your trimmers. You should have the fade blade all the way closed and be tapping that line. Remember to be gentle and have a nice soft flick. When you're using the fade blade, make sure you have a very light flick. You will push the line up if you close that blade and you push too hard. It's very sharp. It's almost like having a pair of trimmers in your hand, honestly. So, like I said, when you're using the fade blade, it's great for Spanish people who have real thick, dense hair. It's awesome for that, but it's very dangerous too if you're cutting somebody who has lighter hair that's, thinner and softer. So just keep that in mind. Now, I'm back over to the other side, and I am setting in my foundation, which my foundation in this haircut, I set this to a 2 with the metal guards. I have my OSTERs and I'm using the metal guards to set the foundation guideline, which is just the length all the way around the head that fades into the skin, into that fade section, and also it blends into the top. So you got the 1 guard, and I'm just opening it up, flicking into that section I just created with my 2 guard, blending them 2 sections together with my 1 all the way open, all the way down to closed, just flicking that line repetitively until the line starts to fade down and look kind of like this. Now I'm going to then put my 0 guard on there and attack the line. This clipper, I have my regular stock Andis blade. I don't have the fade blade on now because I don't want to take the fade too high. Like I said earlier, the fade blade is very sharp, and even with a guard on it, it cuts a little shorter. So I'm mindful of that. Whenever I'm fading, I always start longer and then work my way down, because you can always take more off. You can't put the hair back. But as you can see, because of the steps I've taken, these lines are fading out easily. I believe the Andis Masters, when you use them guards, each guard really fades into each other quite easily. And anything else, you really just gotta have that flick of the wrist. Like I said, right now I'm just going back and just cleaning up this line. I'm doing this entire side before I spin him around and do the other side. Because it all fades relatively fast, I'm doing that. Normally, me being someone who likes to save time, I might take my 1 guard and work all the way around the head with the 1 guard. But seeing that his hair is so thick, I don't want to do that. I want to fade one side and make sure that side is clean before I go and work on the other side. You'll end up stopping and turning around to switch guards way more if you do that. Work on this one side, get that whole side nice and faded, and then go and fade the other lines out on the other side. But while I'm over here on this side and I got my trimmers in my hand, I decided to just throw some shape on that C cup. I'm just shaping the C cup, keeping it very natural. As you can see, his hairline and all his lines really weren't too grown in. You could really see where they already were from his previous haircut. So I'm really just touching the lines up and using my corner of the blade to detail that fade. You can honestly see, even on his beard, it looks like he had just shaped himself up, honestly, the day before. So I'm not going to show you guys how I shape his beard lineup. I will show you how I shape the jaw lineup though. Because before I go to that, I'm using my BABYLISS clipper now and just really detailing this fade, making sure that hair blends completely into the skin, no lines going horizontal through the fade. Clean fades only. So after doing the C cup, I now went into shaping up his corner. Right now I'm shaping up the right corner of his hairline. Like I said, his hairline, you can see the lines. They're still there from the last haircut. I don't have to take much hair off at all. So even like here with this vertical bar, you see I'm just tapping it and taking the hairs off of his forehead, and just them few hairs you need to remove to show that straight line. The straight line is there, you just have to use your trimmers to show it. I just tapped that front hairline up, and now I'm hitting the back line that runs parallel with his ear. Once I got that corner of the jawline set, I just create that line under the neck. But remember, you never want to create your necklines too close to the jawline. Nobody wants their neckline running along their jaw and meeting their chin. You want it to go across the neck. Now, as you can see, it is all faded on this side. I did my shape up relatively light, just got the lines set in because I'm going to do the real detail and really bring them lines out with my razor. But first, let's spin them around, and we're going to fade this other side out. As you can see, my foundation was set with the 2, so I just have to take my 1 guard, open it up, and start flicking that line out. I flicked my line out with that 1 guard, open, close, probably used a little bit of the 0 guard as well. But once that's all faded in, I'm going right to shaping up the other C cup, and I'm just lining that C cup up, making sure it's nice and natural. This specific client, he actually has a mole right at the corner where his C cup meets the sidebars, and it kind of works as a guide, so I know that C cup meets the mole right at the point where it also meets the sidebar. Once I got that shaped up, I decided to pull out my scissors because I noticed a little line, just a couple grains that just needed to be split. So I'm taking my scissors, I'm placing them on the skin, and I'm using my thumb, moving the top blade up and down just the tiniest bit, really just splitting little grains to make that fade look more blurry, more dispersed. But really all you're doing is taking your scissors and you're just splitting grains, sliding the blade up between hairs where the hair's bunched up, and just cutting it parallel so you're not cutting any harsh lines. Now that I put some detail into that side of the fade, it's looking very blurry, no lines, I go and I start working back on the hairline. I'm just shaping up this corner, and I'm taking both corners and I'm going to meet them right in the middle. Shaping up that sidebar. Again, doing this shape up very naturally. because his hairline was already there. Didn't seem like it was too long ago he got his haircut, so all my lines were already there. Making sure I'm not pressing too hard and I'm just letting my trimmers do the work. Don't jack your client's skin up and leave them all red by trying to overwork the trimmers and get these lines set in there. Let the trimmers set the line. Sometimes being too timid with your lines can lead to a jacked up hairline. Sometimes I see a lot of barbers who, they're good and they can do a good hairline, but they overthink it and they try to be too natural. They try to shape it up too natural and they're too scared to push it back. Sometimes you have to put the line in. There's a difference between putting the line in and pushing someone back. So now I got my front hairline shaped up, and now I'm just shaping up his mustache. Again, wasn't too much work to do on the beard. You've seen how I do my neckline, create them squares on the corners of the jawline and just meet right in the middle of the neck. Mustache, just tap the mustache up a little bit, cleaned it up. I'll get into another video more detailed on beard work very soon. Now I've spun him around and you can see from this front angle how I have the hairline shaped up. I'm just meeting them two corners. I'm meeting the lines right in the middle, keeping everything natural and straight across his forehead. I'm not giving him a horseshoe hairline because he doesn't need that. His hairline's not receding, so I'm sure not to push them corners back. I kept them very straight across the forehead. As you can see with his head tilted up, you can see how I kept that line under the neck natural, and I met them 2 points right in the middle of his neck, underneath the chin, not on the chin. That'll leave for a nice, natural, full look on his beard. You want to keep the beard looking as full as possible. So after I shape the front up, and I'm just cleaning up his lines now, cleaning up that neckline, taking any hair down with my trimmers so that the shaver can fully get that hair bald and catch it all. Your box shaver will not cut hair that's too long. You have to take it down with a trimmer and take it down as close to the skin as possible before you hit it with the box shaver. So now from this angle, I'm starting my lineup with the razor. I'm using the razor now to really detail these lines and make each line just pop. When I'm done this, you'll see, I didn't have to use my trimmers too much to shape them up. Just tap these lines, made them straight again, and now I'm using my razor to basically just clean them up and make them razor sharp. As always, I stretch the skin. I got my blade parallel to the skin, flat on the skin surface, and I'm just sliding my blade over the skin, over the hair, letting the blade do the work. If you feel any pull, because he does have very thick hair, if you feel any pull, you either need to stretch the skin more, or I recommend maybe using a shave gel. With this specific client, his hair is very thick, so when I'm doing this, you hear the razor pulling the hair and scraping the hair, but that doesn't bother my client. He uses a razor on himself, so his skin's used to this. But if you do have a client that has sensitive skin, I highly recommend using some sort of shave gel. Now, after the razor, the haircut is complete. I've gone back and checked everything. I check my fade, I do my detail. If there's any dark spots anywhere in the fade, I'm going back and I'm using the corner of my blade, or I'm using the scissors, different techniques to sharpen things up, make everything perfect for the client. Now, if you found this video helpful, please drop a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe before you leave. I appreciate every one of you guys who've already subscribed, and like I said, when I hit 100 subscribers, I'm doing this giveaway. So stay tuned, look out for that. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.